Dynamic microphones are the ones most musicians start out with because they're best for live gigs and are affordable. They can be handheld or placed on stands, and they hold up very well to abuse. Many versions are well suited for particular recording tasks, such as drums, guitar amps, and even certain vocalists. Dynamic microphones are moving coil microphones. They use the same dynamic principle as a loudspeaker, only in reverse. A small coil positioned in the magnetic field of a permanent magnet is attached to the diaphragm. When sound moves the diaphragm, the coil moves in the magnetic field, producing a varying current in the coil through electromagnetic induction. Dynamic microphones are sturdy, relatively inexpensive, and resistant to moisture. They also generate high gain before feedback, which makes them ideal for use on stage in live performances. Dynamic microphones can withstand higher sound pressure levels, called SPLs, like the ones generated at close range by a voice or a kick drum. Here's an example of a dynamic microphone. And as we described, it's got the capsule at the top. It's called a front address because you're addressing the sound into the front of the mic. And it picks up in a cardioid pattern. It's got a little shape of a heart here. That's because the sound that it picks up is shaped like this, with rejection in the back side and acceptance in the front side. So the picture of the sound that it's hearing is the shape of a heart. These can take a lot of sound pressure, very high SPLs, so they're great for things like snare drums, anything that's very loud with a lot of transients. This is also a dynamic mic, but it's a different shape, but it operates on the same principle. The diaphragm's here, which moves a moving coil against the magnet when the sound pressure is applied. Many dynamic microphones have a limited frequency response, which makes them well suited to certain tasks, but lack the ability to capture the detail of more complex sound sources. And kick, you pretty much use a dynamic microphone because it's going to have a lot of sound pressure. So you need something that can take a lot of pressure without blowing up. So this is the top snare mic, and this is good old SM57. Everybody's got them. They cost $100, and they've been recording snares for years and years. One of the best sounding snare mics because it takes a lot of power. It can absorb a lot of sound pressure, but it stays very clear. And it's very bright and pretty much true to a snare. Now, people do combinations. Sometimes people clip two mics together, a condenser and a dynamic, so they can have a little variation in tone. I'm pretty much always able to get whatever I need out of a dynamic. For tom-toms, you generally use a dynamic type of mic. There's a lot of different ones available on the market. I find 57s work great, but there's also Sennheiser 421s, and a lot of different companies make drum mic kits that you actually have all the different kinds of mics specifically chosen for the specific kind of drum. So you might want to invest in one of those drum kit mic setups with 8 or 10 mics. There's a lot of good ones on the market, and they're very inexpensive. The most popular dynamic mics have a fairly detailed response and are well suited to a variety of tasks, including recording guitar cabinets, horns, and some voices. They're especially good for tracking snare drums, and all major studios keep at least a couple on hand. Ribbon mics are prized for their warm, natural sound, but the internal element is delicate and can be damaged by factors like high air velocity, sound pressure, even incorrect storage. Professional engineers love ribbon mics on guitar cabinets, horns, overhead drums, even certain vocalists. Ribbon mics use a thin, usually corrugated metal ribbon suspended in the magnetic field. The ribbon is electrically connected to the microphone's output, and its vibration within the magnetic field generates the electrical signal. Ribbon mics were the first commercially successful directional microphones, but they fell out of favor with the advent of condenser mics. Newer, more robust designs have made them popular once again. Ribbon mics, unlike most other mics, respond to the velocity of air molecules rather than sound pressure level, or SPL. This is a modern ribbon microphone, and the ribbon element is inside here, suspended inside the magnet. It's just a piece of foil that vibrates with the velocity of the air. And it's very delicate, so you can't put this up close to too many loud things, or the velocity of the air would rupture the tinfoil element. You also can't store them over time flat because they'll start to sag and stretch and ruins the performance of the microphone. But ribbon microphones are very detailed and very honest and natural sounding. So they're great on things like drum overheads where you're getting a nice picture of the drums, or guitars, even guitar cabinets where you're getting that nice warm sound of the guitar itself. You have to be careful with the sound level because you don't want to rupture the element. So you don't place it too close to the guitar cabinet itself. You have to give it a little space. A piezo microphone uses piezoelectricity, a voltage created from pressure, to convert vibrations into an electrical signal. Piezoelectric transducers are often used as contact microphones to amplify sounds from acoustic musical instruments like acoustic guitars, violins, or to sense drum hits to trigger electronic samples. Saddle-mounted pickups on acoustic guitars are generally piezo devices that contact the strings passing over the saddle. This type of pickup is different from the magnetic coil pickup on your electric guitar, which uses magnetic induction rather than mechanical coupling to pick up vibration. Technically speaking, PZMs are actually a form of condenser mic. They resemble a big square plate and can be attached to a surface like a wall, the floor, or a piano's exterior cabinet. They work on the principle that acoustic pressures are built up on a surface as sound waves strike that surface. They're sometimes referred to as boundary microphones. PZMs can be extremely clear and detailed, and they reproduce bass frequencies very well. The larger the surface to which the microphone is attached, the more the low frequencies will be heard. They make a great choice for picking up the ambient sound in your recording space.